everyone, I'm back and I'm here with my beautiful little baby girl. She is the Kimmy Scope by Bountiful Baby, and she's supposed to be an Asian scope, but I gave her biracial skin and she looks absolutely beautiful. Now it took me a while to reborn her. I put in over 50 hours and she has 30 layers of paint, 4 layers of creasing on her knuckles, on her fingers and her toes, and she has 3 layers of the black Prismacolor pencil coloring on her head and on her eyebrows. She has 2 layers of the paper glaze on her nails and her lips, and she has 1 layer of the ultra matte varnish on her limbs and 2 layers of the ultra matte varnish on her head. She has wispy long black eyelashes, and she has the brown eyes, and she has the peach colored lips. She has natural looking nails, and she is just absolutely adorable. Now, I had my doubts about reborning a kit with the folk art paints because I wasn't sure how they would turn out. I wasn't sure if you painted an area on a limb and let it dry and then went back and painted another area, if those 2 areas would overlap and you would see the line of paint, but that didn't happen. So I decided to try doing a smaller baby to see how long I would have to actually do a limb before the folk art paint would actually dry. And I have to tell you, it dries pretty fast. But I had no issues. I developed my own way of drying the layers, and it went relatively smooth. I had absolutely no issues whatsoever with reborning this baby with the folk art paints. Now, I reborned her differently than when I did Madison and Matthew, and even when I added the enhancement layers to Anna Marie. What I did with this one, now, or I should go back, when I did Madison and Matthew, you know, I went by what I have heard from other reborn artists and so forth. You put a layer of paint on the head and on the limbs, let them dry, then continue, do the second layer on the head, on the limbs, and so forth and so forth. Well, to be honest, it got very overwhelming for me when I was doing that. I felt really stressed out, and sometimes I would forget what limb got the layer and so forth and so forth, and so then I had to use my eyes to judge the coloring of the limbs, and it was just too, it was overwhelming for me. And yes, I did enjoy reborning them, but it was very stressful. And so I decided to do something different with this baby, and from now on, when I reborn, I'm going to follow the same scenario that I did with this one. I decided to do her in parts. So I did her arms first, and when I was completely done painting the arms, and I mean everything, the only thing that I didn't put on was the ultra matte varnish. I wanted to wait until I did her complete kit before I did that. But everything else, once all that was done, I then worked on the legs. And when I was done with the legs, then I did the head. And I have to tell you guys, doing it that way for me, it was absolutely wonderful. I had so much fun reborning this baby, doing it that way, than doing the head and the limbs at the same time with one layer, letting everything dry, second layer, letting everything dry. I didn't want to go through that again. So I decided to do it my own way, and it worked for me. I truly, truly enjoyed it. When I saw that I had the arms done, then I told myself, yay, I'm 1/3 of the way done. And then when I had the legs done, I said, oh wow, I'm 2/3 of the way done. All I have is her little head to do. And that was the best part. That was the icing on the cake for me. I had so much fun doing her head, watching her face come to life, and it was awesome. It was a wonderful experience. Now I'm going to tell you about her details. So let me undress her. And she is just, she is sheer heaven, I'll tell you. Now, I have not picked out a name for her yet. I don't know what to call her. I just don't know what to call her. All right. Now, she is on 3/4 limbs. And I love 3/4 limbs on the babies. I truly do, because I think they're more cuddly that way. They're more, you can cuddle them more. All right. So, as most of you know, if you've watched my other videos, I've stated that I wanted my baby to have the honeycomb complexion. Well, I did. In fact, you can see that on her foot. This is the honeycomb. She has 10 layers of that on her whole kit. Well, when I got to the 10th layer, I looked at her and I said, oh my, we have a problem here, because if she's supposed to be a biracial baby or an African American baby, then the bottoms of her feet and the palms of her hands are supposed to be lighter than the rest of her skin tone. So I took my raw sienna, mixed it with the honeycomb, and I put 5 layers of that on her head and on her limbs, on the tops of her hands, the tops of her feet. Now, I didn't do the bottom of her hands or the bottoms of her feet or her ears. I just did, you know, the arms, the legs, and so forth. Then what I did is I wanted to add some warmth and more blushing color to her face and the tops of her hands and her feet and her elbows and her knees. So what I did is I took my rose blush and I mixed it in with some of the raw sienna, just very, very little raw sienna. And I applied 10 layers to the tops of her hands, the tops of her feet, which, sorry, I don't think I can, let me see if I can turn her. The tops of her feet, her knees, her elbows, her cheeks, her nose going into her forehead, and her chin. Then the last thing that I did on her, I had looked at pictures of real babies, not reborn dolls, real babies, African American and biracial. And one thing that I noticed with a lot of them, well, even adults, I looked at pictures of adults as well, I noticed that their fingers and their toes are darker than their hands and feet on a lot of them, not all of them. So that was another detail that I wanted to do to her. So I took my coffee bean color and I put 4 layers on the knuckle creases on her fingers and her toes, and then I applied 2 layers of the coffee bean color to the top part of her fingers, not the bottom part, but just the top part, just to cover them. And the same thing with her toes, so that they appear to be darker than her hands, her fingers, and her toes appear to be darker than her feet. And that was another detail that I wanted to give to her. And she just turned out absolutely gorgeous. And there's her blushing. And I also put the blushing around her, not around the whole ankle, just the sides and the front part of her ankles. I did not give her any creasing other than what you see on her knuckles, on her fingers and her toes. I just felt because she was a biracial color, I didn't think that adding all that creasing would look good on her. I don't do veining at all. I won't even touch the veining. So she has no veining, and I'm fine like that. I'm very happy about that. I don't even want to deal with veining, because I understand you have to be able to do that, because if you mess it up, the blue dye can stain the vinyl, and I just don't want to go there. And then she has a natural looking nails, just like my other babies. Very sweet. And her ears, let me show you her ears. I'll show you this one. She does not have any shading or blushing on her ears. They're just a honeycomb. They're the same as the palms of her feet, the palms of her hands, and the bottoms of her feet. I like how her ears came out. They look absolutely lovely. And so I did not want to botch it or mess it up. But look at this, guys. You know, I am so proud of myself that I was able to accomplish this part of reborning her, and that's the palms of her hands. Look at that. I can't believe I was able to do that. And the bottom of her feet, look at that. Isn't that awesome? That is so cool. That is just too cool that I was able to do that. So I'm very, very happy with how she turned out. She's just so adorable, so adorable. And another thing that I did different with her, I guess because Matthew and Madison are big babies, I used the makeup sponges on their hands and their fingers. Well, I'm not going to do that anymore. Not that I'm going to do any more toddlers, I'm not. But with any baby that I reborn, I am going to use a small paintbrush. That's what I used on her hands and her fingers and her toes. Not her feet, because I could do that with the makeup sponge. But yeah, and it worked wonderful using a small paintbrush on the fingers and the palms of the hands. Just absolutely wonderful. So now let me show you her hair, because I wanted to give her hair. And there's her eyebrows. Oh my gosh. But here's her hair. Let me see if I can turn her around here. There's the one side. And there's the back. And then there's the crown. And here's the top of her head. And then there's the other side. Now, she has black hair. I did not do any mixture of colors. I wanted her to have black hair because she's supposed to be biracial. And, of course, she's Asian with biracial skin tone. And as we all know, most babies, African American babies and biracial babies are born with the black hair. And that's what I wanted her to have. And I wanted it to be free-flowing and straight. I didn't want it to have any waves, because Asian babies, their hair is not wavy. And I also made it all uneven, because babies' hairs are not even. And I think she came out absolutely wonderful with her hair. I think I did a fantastic job on her hair. When I showed her to my son, he said, wow, she looks really good, and she looks like a boy. And that's what he said to me. She looks like a boy. So then I put her in this outfit, and this bow. I brought her back into him, and he said, Mom, she still looks like a boy. So I had to laugh. Yeah, so took me over 50 hours to do this beautiful little baby. And for my first reborn, or biracial reborn, I can't even talk, she turned out beautiful. There is not one flaw on her. She just doesn't have veining or mottling. And you know what, guys? I went ahead and went on the internet, and I looked up a lot of information on my own. And, you know, there is no right way or wrong way to reborn a doll. Reborning a doll is based solely on the perception and vision that the artist sees the baby to be, that she's reborning. And this is how I saw this little one, and I'm very, very happy with the way she turned out. And you know, there are many artists out there who don't put veining on their dolls, who don't put blushing or mottling. Then you have artists that put blushing and mottling, and you have artists that do light blushing, light mottling, and you have artists that do heavy blushing or heavy mottling. You know, it's just all on the perception of how the person that is reborning the baby sees the baby to be. So there is no right way or wrong way. And each baby is a true work of art. And that's how we should see them. And there she is. And I'm very, very happy. And so once I just really thought about it, and I'm very, very happy with how my babies turned out that I have reborn. Because they are how I envisioned them. And especially this one. I have to say that this one, I have put a lot of work into her. Every layer of paint that I put on her, I examined each layer of paint. If there were any little specks or dust or anything, I flicked them off with a toothpick. And that advice came from Sharon. So Sharon, I did listen to what you had to say in your email to me. And I took my time, and like I said, it took me over 50 hours to do this baby. And it was well worth it because she turned out absolutely beautiful. Will I do another biracial baby? I don't think so, because there is just so much work and so many layers of paint. I thought I would never get done with her, but on the flip side, it was absolutely wonderful to see how she came to life layer by layer by layer. It was absolutely wonderful to see that. And just the end result, a beautiful baby girl. Now, I just don't have a name for her. I have absolutely no idea what to call her. I really don't. I thought, I don't know why this name popped into my head. I thought of calling her Tori. I don't know why. That name just popped into my head. But I don't know if that's what I really want to call her. So I think it's going to take some time. But, oh my goodness, I couldn't wait to share her with you guys. So guys, please welcome my new baby girl to the nursery. And I'm so very, very happy that she's here. such a big accomplishment for me. I can't believe I did it. I still look at her in awe, because she's biracial, and the way the palms of her hands and the bottoms of her feet came out. It's just amazing. It is absolutely amazing. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for being a part of my channel. And my new baby girl wants to say hi, aunties and uncles. She's so sweet. I just love this little one. Everyone, please be kind to each other. Love, hugs, many blessings, and joy bubbles from my nursery to yours. Take care, guys. Bye for now.